I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
I am not perfect. And I think I'm sick of podcasts that resolve around, oh, I'm perfect and I got an answer for everything. Sometimes you just need to talk stuff through and talk out loud about it. And I'm not going to leave you hanging.
The word boundary is not necessarily attached to some of the things that you have in place that you don't probably realize they're actually boundaries. There's probably certain spaces with people, friends, that you may not share certain things with, or certain areas about your life with certain people. That's a boundary.
Son, I ain't going to lie. Some of that's a wall.
It's a wall.
I'm going to be honest about that. Some of it's a wall.
Okay.
Hey, thank God for another day. Hey, I know we could be another way. Hey, pray. Thank God for another day. Hey, I know we could be another way.
Yo, it's your girl Jessica S. Smith, and you have entered the safe space where influencers decompress, have fun, and guess what?
Just as.
Hey. Yes, and you know that I do nothing without my girl, Desiree.
Hey.
Desiree.
Hey.
Desiree, who happens to have her shoulders out today. Why you got your shoulders out? Why you trying to be sexy?
That's how the shirt made. It's a long sleeve shirt.
Does the straps come with the shirts, or you put that under there too? That's your tank top.
My tank top.
Okay, but your shoulder it's like your chest area. If you can't see it on the audible version, her skin is skinning. It looked like she put some oil. I'm glad you lotioned up. I'm glad you're not ashy
because It's we in a dry season. We outside.
Out in the physical, outside. In the outside with the weather. We're not in the dry season. We don't claim that because you know when you
outside, the environment outside
be clear.
It's cold. It's a little cold.
Don't be saying
the air be a little dry, so it make your skin and your hair a little extra dry. So you gotta stay geezed up. Lotion and Vaseline and things.
It look like you ain't got no fat up there. It looks good. You look wonderful. I know your man of God like
Crystal.
She looks pretty.
Crystal, Crystal be getting us together.
Crystal. Oh yes, shout out to Crystal.
She be having you doing them
because
things like this and these, these.
She this past week I wanted to give her every word outside of the will of the Lord, because them arms. Yeah. It seemed like she was just very much so targeted on making sure we got them. The wings together, the arms.
I think if you don't got a good cuss out in your spirit, that means ain't nothing happening.
Ain't nothing happening. But I really wanted to go off on her because I don't like working out my arms, but I need to. That's the part that I avoid, because the leg workout, I'm getting it in. Yeah. The legs are legging, but the arms are a little still flabby. But we're working on that. I
think that's just naturally, like women. We naturally go to the bottom. One, we want to get the duking, right?
Yeah, because the duke is
duking. Mm-hmm. But our upper bodies sometimes don't be as strong, so it's a little bit
we
more
just worry
resistance.
about like not being fat, but like tone or whatever, because like even in the chest area, like I didn't know that was
it's a muscle. That's a whole muscle back there.
Baby, I didn't know how much fat was on there until I started losing it. You know what I'm saying? You think you were a triple D, but you really not. It's just fat. It's just extra fat, just hanging.
Fat, just
Get it together, men and women of God, okay? Desiree, I don't want to talk about this today.
Why, Jessica?
Okay.
We're talking about boundaries today.
We are talking about boundaries.
And apparently this conversation or this topic subject has Jessica in her feelings a little bit. Just a tinge.
Because, okay, let's start with this. I don't see a problem with people's boundaries or whatever. I'm one to honor boundaries.
Yeah.
I think that this has been a challenging space, and how this conversation is coming up is the most irritating. It's most irritating because it keeps repeating itself in different forms. Mm-hmm. Mostly, I'll just be direct, different people. Mm-hmm. And the disappointment that comes with dealing with this. I think I'm gonna turn my glasses off right now. But the disappointment that comes with the lack of boundaries has I don't know, it has me in question. You know what I'm saying? Like why does this keep happening to me? Or why do I have to set up parameters because other folks don't know how to act right, or other people don't know how to handle me, or other people don't know how to honor me? And I think that relationally, I thought it was just maybe I didn't do well with managing boundaries or parameters with men. But I recently found out that I don't do well with the women either, and that hurts me, Desiree, or it's frustrating for me because when I thought I had, like, when I had my wall up regarding like women being in my life and me not being free enough to just indulge fully, it came from a place of I've been tried here already, and I just brought my boundary, like I just brought this wall down, and now I feel like I have to put a wall back up, not a boundary, but a wall, and I'm struggling with that.
I think you I'm glad you kind of differentiated those two, right? I think we give boundary gets a negative connotation because we equate boundary and wall as the same thing, and it's not. Boundaries are healthy. They're meant to be safeguards around things, places, relationships, and things like that, whether they're friendships, whether they're romantic relationships. Boundaries, I believe, are necessary. Where we get it twisted sometimes is because we've been hurt before. Now we are guarded by walls. So I think of a wall as like almost like an impenetrable space. Even if I put a nail in this, we put a nail in the wall, like the wall is still there. I think boundaries give us flexibility. It gives us safeguards, but it also gives us flexibility to flow in and out of relationship. Like I get to choose whether I can keep this boundary here, I can move the boundary back, I can push the boundary forward. But I need this boundary because this is what keeps me safe.
Yeah. So a boundary definition by Oxford language, it says it's a noun, a line that marks the limits of an area, a dividing line. And so in preparation, so let me just give y'all a backstory, not on what happened, but on what keeps presenting like itself. And y'all know I'm in therapy, right? And I told y'all that I've been in therapy for about 2 years now. Yeah. And it's working. And when the thing about therapy is that when you think you're done with therapy and you're like, oh, I'm finna graduate, be like, something else comes up. Okay. Something comes up and it's like, dang, I thought I was finna be graduating. No, this process, 2 years now. 2 years, we're going to say 2, okay? This process has been interesting. It's been a roller coaster. I thought the biggest hump I had to get over was that man that I was dealing with. You know what I'm saying? Let's just be quite frank because, he tried it this week. Yeah. But anyway, I thought that was the biggest hump I had to get over, but the biggest hump I've had to get over is myself. Like, I'm 34 years old, and I have 34 years of experiences that haven't been dealt with or properly dealt with. You know what I'm saying? And so that's also what I'm learning. Shout out to my therapist. If you see this, girl, I love you. Because the algorithm be algorithm. She has come for me the past several sessions. She has come for me and asked the same question at the end, and she's always asking something that's centered around, Jessica, what do you see here that looks like other things, right? And so this past week, I had I call them emergency therapy sessions. Because Jessica was finna reveal her middle name, okay? And that's
the west side of Birmingham.
Y'all say I'm from the west side, but I was gonna show it, okay? So I text my therapist and I said, I'm about to lose it. I can't wait till Monday. She was like, okay, I got time this day. And I made time for it. And in that, at the end of everything, she asked me, She was very intentional. She said, I don't know if you've been paying attention in our last several sessions, but I asked you something correlated to patterns. And I really want you, she's like, although these things have been done to you and these people are wrong and it's not fair for certain things to happen, I need you to look at what you've been allowing and what you keep, what the pattern that keeps happening. Because at first I was like, yes, every time I get, vulnerable with, women, I have this problem. This is why I didn't think I was called to women. This is why I didn't think I would do relationship with women. This is why I always say, I only have male relationships because X, Y, and Z. But obviously the male relationships haven't been working out too well either. But there's multiple things that have happened in this year alone. And the year just got started. We're in the first quarter of the year. And things, male and female, have happened. And so it's like, no, it's not a species issue. No, it's not this. This is an issue that keeps presenting itself. And you're not getting it, Jessica. You're not getting it. And so she challenged me on my boundaries. She challenged me on, she said, I know this is not, this word. She's like, from people that you really love and care about to people that you don't know. And I think that for me, when I'm evaluating boundaries, I evaluate boundaries to a point where people that I don't know, I manage that pretty well. Like, I'm like, this is what I'm not gonna do. This is what I'm not gonna tolerate this. You're not gonna do that, because there's no connector. But as soon as I feel a connection, as soon as I get time with people, as soon as I can see the potential of a person, as soon as I do that, that's when my heart gets broken. And I was like, I genuinely asked her, I was like, how do I navigate building these boundaries with people I'm supposed to be able to be free with? How am I free, but I have this boundary? Like, for me, it doesn't, the correlate, I'm missing it. So Desiree has already also talked to me about this. So this is a Desiree quote. This is like a sister conversation that I'm having openly, because I feel like I'm not the only person that struggles with it. So boundaries. When you think about boundaries, Desiree, you've already told us your definition of it. But when it comes to me, you can put me on the chopping board. When it comes to me, what do you feel like I'm missing when it comes to boundaries?
I think, like you said, I do believe that it's easier to set parameters around for people that you don't know, right? But it's when you get to a level of comfort and vulnerability, like when you get into a space where it's like, oh man, okay, like we good. I feel like I can be vulnerable in this area with people. I just believe that you love hard.
Okay.
Right. I believe you love hard, and I think also, and the word boundary just has to become more positive. Like, we have, even if we don't put language to it, the truth of the matter is we have boundaries.
Me and you?
Yes.
Okay. Can you give me an example? Because I was sitting here thinking, like, do we have boundaries in our relationship? What does that look like in our relationship?
So I think they may not, and honestly, they may be unspoken. There's boundaries that can be spoken and unspoken. Okay. So let's say, I don't know, telephone.
Okay, what about the telephone?
Right? I think there's certain days that where I'm in certain places, right? And you won't call. But if you do, if I see my phone ring and you call me, I'm gonna automatically think that something's wrong.
Okay.
Right? Because in that space, I don't necessarily I'm talking about the salon, right? So I'm in the salon, I don't answer my phone because I respect the people's time that's there.
Right.
The people that are around me that know me know that. So if they're calling, I'm thinking that it's an emergency and there's something needs to be handled. So I call them right back. So even though it's something as small as that, that's still a boundary. Was it, hey, don't call me during this time, as we've had, and I had to say, hey, I just don't answer the phone during this time. That's a boundary. It's not like a, hey, like, don't ever call me, It's just like during this time, I just respect, blah, blah, blah. And that's a boundary that wasn't necessarily, this is a boundary around this, but I expressed how I choose to operate during this time. And because you love me, most of the time you don't call unless it's an emergency that you call. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That's a boundary.
Yeah, that's a boundary. But now I'm sitting here thinking like, okay, what boundary I got for you? Like, I don't know if I have a boundary for you. I genuinely, and it makes me want to cry because it's like, dog it. Now I'm sitting here thinking like, okay, we have a healthy relationship.
We do.
Like we have a healthy relationship.
But that's just showing you that like boundaries aren't bad. That's not like a, hey, I don't like you, like we can't do this. It's just during this time. And my mom and them, everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Like that's just a space because I'm serving in this space, other people. I just respect that space. And I do believe that people understand that. So it's not like, hey, we not good or anything like that. It's just during this time, I think I've expressed I just don't answer the phone during that time.
Yeah, and that's a healthy boundary.
That's a healthy boundary.
And I get that and I see that. But my issue right now is that I'm thinking like, what's my boundary with you, Desiree? Like we have a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
What is Jessica's boundary with Desiree? Like, or not even just Desiree, but because we're using this as an example, like, even though it's healthy, you've been able to say, Jessica, I love you, but this, I'm not bending this. You know what I'm saying? But I appreciate you honoring it. But now I'm sitting here like, I don't know if I got a boundary for you. I can't think of one.
I think I made the same boundary for myself for you. Like, I don't necessarily call you during the day because I know you on the folks' clock. And when you on the clock, like, I know, like, your brain is like, boom, 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 boom. I said, so that's why I text a lot most of the time.
Yeah, and I hate texting.
I know.
I hate texting, like really bad. And so that's why I choose to call to just go ahead and say what I need to say. Or I send voice recordings, which Jose told me stop sending him podcasts. So that hurts my feelings right now.
Because you don't have a boundary.
Because I can't even think of one. And it's like, this is what my therapist is talking about.
Yeah.
And I don't know if in my mind, if I feel like there shouldn't be one, or if I don't know if I look at boundaries as safeguards to where it keeps me away from people. But if you're in that safe space, like if you're in my safe space, I'm doing life with you, Desiree. Like, why am I thinking about a doggone boundary? Like, why am I thinking, the only boundary I think I have right now that I can just speak to that's evident to me is like my calendar. If I put something on my calendar, I don't care what it is, and something else come up, I'm like, hey, I got this, but if I need to do this, I'm gonna have to figure out something, you know what I'm saying? Or like even with my church, this was a big thing. I had to make it very clear, hey, before I moved here and before this was a thing or this was offered, I committed to this. This is what this is doing for me. Yeah. I've had to say that several times. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I know that you want me here, but I committed to this. Yeah. I love you and I don't have a problem with doing this, but I can't do it because I committed to this first. If something get on my calendar or whatever, and I have to like navigate it, it's hard for me. You know what I'm saying? So my calendar may be my boundary, like with my time. I guess that's the safeguard for me. But as far as everything else, I genuinely can't think.
I think you have, like I said, I think it's the word boundary is not necessarily attached to some of the things that you have in place that you don't probably realize they're actually boundaries. There's probably certain spaces with people, friends, that you may not share certain things with, or certain areas about your life with certain people. That's a boundary.
Son, I ain't gonna lie, some of that's a wall.
It's a wall.
I'm gonna be honest about that. Some of it's a wall.
Okay.
And it's because folks didn't messed around and found out. if I can, okay, this is very transparent.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I want to get to a resolve, and I'm talking out loud about this because Desiree and I have had this conversation about what me and my therapist talked about. But
This real time. We just have this conversation. Y'all just get to listen.
Yeah, I'll just get to listen and be a part of it. Like, I don't ever want to come off as, I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
I am not perfect. And I think I'm sick of podcasts that resolve around, oh, I'm perfect and I got an answer for everything. Sometimes you just need to talk stuff through and talk out loud about it. And I'm not going to leave you hanging, even if it's a second part to this episode, right? But I can think of one person right now that I have probably, taken a step back, because when certain situations happen and you present yourself not once, but twice in a certain situation, it's like, hold up. What we not going to do is this. I don't like how I feel right here. So let me just block you all together. And I know how to keep it cute. And I'm sorry. I get that from my mom.
Yeah.
My mom, baby, my mom.
Shout out to Miss Nancy.
Shout out to my mama. Okay. My mama knows how to keep it cute, but when she gone, she is dipping, no matter who, what, when, where, how. Okay. The thought. So like on my dad's portion, I've also seen, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've even found things out recently. They're like, Daddy, why are you even giving this person the energy or the time of day? You get what I'm saying? Like, what's going on? Like, we don't need to do that.
Yeah.
I struggle also with the whole idea of living in righteousness, forgiveness, doing things as the Lord. I was reading this article and I sent it to you. And it's I think it's not necessarily even just an article. I think it's in a book called The Journal of Biblical Counseling. It looks like it was released in 2004. So it's a little dated. But this guy named Edward T. Welch wrote in this book, it's called Boundaries in Relationships. And I've been like, I'm seeking out answers on how does Jessica set boundaries and not walls, because they're very close.
Yeah.
They're very close in nature. Boundaries, like we said, is a line. A wall is what it is. It's a wall. Yeah. Like you can't see over it, you can't see through it, or whatever. But there's a line. You can still see me. There's a level of transparency and maybe vulnerability. But this line, if you cross it, you come into this a territory that is not for you, right? And so I get that in my mind. I get that in my intellectual mind. But making it practical, it's hard for me. So I'm sitting here like doing avid research on boundaries. And one person that I know that does like talks about it is also what's her name? Mel Robbins.
Okay.
She has that book, Let Them. I'm gonna have to reread that for my soul, because I read it with my mind first. I need to read it with my soul. Yeah. But basically, Edward Welch was talking about boundaries in relationships, but the way he came about it irritated me, because the resolve for me was, hey, don't look at it like a boundary. You need to operate in love and discernment. And I'm like, okay, so I ain't got discernment. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, you're giving me this biblical approach to boundaries, saying, okay, God obviously made boundaries when he created, if we go back to the beginning.
Right.
When you think about Adam and Eve and saying, hey, there are two trees here. You can eat from this tree, but don't eat from this tree. That would be a technical boundary, because they can see the tree. Yeah. God didn't put no wall over the tree, and then when they crossed their boundaries, there was repercussions for that boundary. I get that, but how do I make that practical for me? And you're just telling me, okay, have love. Don't look at it a boundary, because boundaries were broken. He basically makes the argument that boundaries were broken when Jesus entered the earth and died for our sins, because the boundary was broken to get to God. But there's still a standard there. Yeah. I have to accept Jesus as my Lord and Savior. The word says no one comes to the Father except through me. But that's technically a line that's been drawn that if you don't accept him, hey, I can love my creation, I can do all this, but I can't fully accept you until you accept me.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And so he was basically saying, well, look, you need to look at it through love and discernment. I'm like, what am I missing? What am I missing through love, and what am I missing through discernment? That don't help me. And then the whole idea with Mel is she says let them, but also not just let them, but let me. And the let me is more so of an idea of, I guess, since they are doing this is how I digest it. And I could be so wrong, y'all. I could be so wrong. And I'm okay with that. The comments are open. Yeah. Okay, the comments are open. All right. The idea of let me comes from, okay, not necessarily all the way, but since this is what they decide to do, my response has to be different. And I feel like maybe I'm digesting that wrong. That's why I'm having to reread that book. But even just like the idea of embracing that it's okay not to give all of myself, but I'm like, I'm an all or nothing type of girl. Like it makes me feel like I can't fully be me. That's probably what I'm looking for. Like, I can't fully be me.
I was going to say, I think the idea of a boundary, you hear bondage. You know what I'm saying? Like as you're journeying in a space where you're learning to fully, like you're walking through freedom and healing, right? So I think I think the idea of a boundary, you're attaching it to the lack of freedom. You know what I'm saying? Because you just said, hey, I give all or nothing. So the idea of a boundary is almost kind of like it's something that's holding you back. But I think if you think about what your therapist said, she said there's a pattern of something, right? That doesn't mean your whole life has to be boundaried. That means there's an area that clearly we need to examine to see why this particular pattern keeps coming up, and maybe put some safeguards around this area so that this pattern does not keep happening, because obviously this pattern keeps happening and it keeps leading you into a space of hurt. So let's be proactive about it, right? So that means, hey, if there's an area in my life that I know, and this don't mean you cannot be free. You can still be your whole self, but this space right here, until we are able to, I think the thing is, like, people are not going to respect the boundaries until you respect the boundaries that you put in place. So it's like, if there's a space that there's a pattern that continues to happen, that's unsafe for you. So the boundary is, hey, I need to feel safe. I need to make sure that I am able to be my whole self in this space. And because of that, I'm going to have to put a couple of guardrails right here in this particular area until I can figure out and understand what's happening, and then allow people to then respect that space as well. Because I do, as I'm listening, it sounds like you're literally, like boundaries for you means bondage. And it's like, but I'm walking this freedom thing out. You know what I'm saying? And I don't see how I can be free if I have boundaries. But really, freedom comes with the boundaries. Boundaries come with the freedom.
I can see that. I can agree with that. I can agree with that.
Yeah.
Because I have fought to be this free.
I know.
I have fought to be this free. I think that I don't produce boundaries until pain.
So it's reactive and not proactive.
Yeah. So I don't know how to proactive. I am genuinely like, how do I proactively create boundaries? And this is frustrating to me because
you just have to start in the space that needs the boundary. You don't have to put your whole life on guard right now, because that's obviously not, there's an area somewhere, there's an area that needs a safeguard. And I think it's tapping into that space, whatever that space is, and what does Jessica need in order to make sure that she's safe in that space, that this continual pattern does not keep happening from whoever it's happening from. I don't care who it is.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, one boundary that we established recently, well, I came up with it after talking to my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law it's her man. I was on the phone with him and he was just doing some encouraging, and while we were talking, I heard the Holy Spirit was telling me to tell him that I was going to utilizing my people. Like, so before my freedom, I wasn't even utilizing my people as far as like accountability and stuff like that. And so I feel like I've gotten better with the accountability and being naked and vulnerable, even when it's really, really bad.
Yeah.
And so, it's kept me, I've still experienced pain, but it's kept me like not digging myself into more pain.
That's a boundary.
Yeah. So, okay. So accountability is a type of boundary.
Yeah.
You would say that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a proactive boundary. If you know, that's what I'm saying. Like, you just kind of gotta open your mind to what a boundary is. Like, if you know, hey, there's areas that I don't need to be in my own thoughts about. The boundary is, let me share it with somebody that I trust. Okay. That's safeguarding you. That's helping you in that particular area. It's not. We're rewiring what boundaries are.
Okay.
So that for you is a boundary. Hey, me being vulnerable and accountable in this area is a boundary for me. That's keeping me safe. Like, I think you have to, as you're building these boundaries, we're gonna have to be a little, I'm gonna call it selfish in this space. It's, what does Jessica need in these areas to make sure that Jessica is safe and can still walk out her freedom in these spaces. So if having a level of accountability is a part of that safety and that guardrail, then that's a part of the boundary that we're gonna walk in.
Yeah. You just said something that triggered me. What does Jessica need? Like the selfish word. Like,
exactly. Because Jessica's typically selfless. Like, I think that's the problem. Like, not a problem, but you love hard and love big, and it's all like from a genuine space, but it's always about the other person. So I think also probably this frustration is that Jessica has to sit in, like, Jessica needs to do what Jessica needs for herself. Like, what does Jessica need to feel safe?
When you did that for you, what that look like?
What you mean?
Like, outside of just like your working time, give me another boundary that you feel like you have. And I don't want you to say church either, because that's a strong boundary for you too. Like, I don't even, when folks ask me, can she do Sunday? No, if it's between the hours of 6 a.m. and 2 p.m., she probably not gonna do it because she at the church house. You know what I'm saying? I know that's a strong boundary for you as well. But I don't, what other boundary, how did you set this up for you? Like, have you always been like this?
It's still a work in progress. I started with what I needed for me to feel safe and functional, right? So my morning time, it starts really early, right? But my morning time is set aside for quiet time with the Lord and for the gym, right? Also, and like I may, like on Wednesdays, particularly Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, I'm not going to start actually doing work, if possible, until a certain time, because I need the morning to be able to like recuperate from working in the salon 10-12 hours a day on Mondays and Tuesdays. But that morning time for me is needed in order for me to, that's every day. Like, every day I'm waking up at some point in time early in the morning to spend time with the Lord. As like, you know, people are like, oh, you know, spend time with the Lord. No, I need that.
Yeah.
I need that. In order for me to function throughout the day and be able to surrender my thoughts and my ideas, I need to spend time with the Lord in the morning, being vulnerable with him, because that's an issue for me sometimes. Like, as I'm talking about, as we talked about me finding my voice and being comfortable with my voice, I had to first start in the intimate, in a quiet place with him, sharing the things that's on my heart and my mind that I either have kept bottled in for a long time, or things that I don't think I can share with other people sometimes. I have to release that off in the morning in order for me to be functional. So during that time, the phone is on Do Not Disturb. And when I come out of that space, if somebody has called or sent a message or something like that, then I will respond back. But that's a boundary for me. I need that time for myself in order for me to make sure that I'm good mentally and spiritually.
Okay. Well, when you said Do Not Disturb, I do have that boundary.
Okay.
I have my phone on Do Not Disturb.
And there's been times where you be like, hey, I'm turning my phone off. I already know that means, hey, I'm not, whenever she ready to come back to the world, obviously she need the space, that's cool. And I don't feel offended about it or anything. I just know that's some time, like, And you don't do it that often.
I sure don't.
But when you do, I'm like, okay, that means she really need this time.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That's a boundary.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I think the stressor is the relational part.
Yeah.
The stressor part is like, okay, because my therapist gave me an example where she didn't honor the boundaries with her, and just like even communicating and introducing herself to new relationships. And she gave me an example, and I can just generalize it. Basically, meeting somebody new and giving her phone number out after the first conversation. Mm-hmm. That's a boundary that she doesn't cross. Like, we don't just meet and then all of a sudden we exchange numbers. And when she crossed that boundary, it went the way that boundary crossing looks like. Mm-hmm. And so she was trying to give me that example. And so I think I guess in my mind, because I am in like protect Jessica mode, I don't know how to protect myself without walls. Mm-hmm. I don't. Even I can be honest right now, there's a relationship out there that I was hurt in. There's a couple of them that I was hurt in that I've been trying to personally navigate. Lord, do I'm supposed to be in this relationship? Because I still feel the wall. I still feel the wall based upon what happened in the relationship. I'm scared to introduce myself fully to them because they had me fully and mismanaged it. Mm-hmm. Or they looked at me, let me not say that word, because it would give certain things away, but they looked at me and saw me in a way that I did not present myself, but they saw me in this way. And I'm just like, no. Mm-hmm. I if you knew, like, for you to say, Jessica, you love hard, you have a big heart, X, Y, and Z, but then I get combated and informed or treated as I'm not that person, or I was very selfless in the act, or you know what I'm saying? Because some people, I've been told before, like, I'm trying to be very careful with my words, my language right now. I've been told before, just almost like the outgoing version of me is kind of overwhelming for other people. And so I've even dimmed what you would consider dimming your light, and just like, okay, well, let me not move like this around you. Let me not, and I that's basically trying to make people feel good. You know what I'm saying? But when it's time to make Jessica feel good, or to honor Jessica, it's like these things come up, and I'm like, dang, bro, how did I miss that? And so I think what I'm thinking about more so with boundaries is boundaries in relationship, and how can I safeguard myself, and not to, because I do see people's potential. Mm-hmm. I do see where people what God has called them to be, even if they choose not to be there. You know what I'm saying? I do see, That's why folks are like, you always give me, you always are free, because, I can see it, and I want you to see it. You know what I'm saying? That's why I've been in a lot of broken relationships, you know what I'm saying, as far as the male species, because I can just see beyond the point of view. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so my fear is that I don't learn boundaries, and the boundary is really a wall. And I know, I can honestly say that, like, I know how to put a wall up, and then I make you feel like ain't no wall up. You ain't gonna feel the wall, but I know the wall is there. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't know, Desiree. I'm genuinely interested in this process, and I really want to fight to be better. I also don't want to be played again. Yeah. And I don't know if a boundary is enough to do it. If I can be very honest, if I can be very transparent, I don't know if a boundary, if, just like you said earlier, you said, well, I don't call you either because I know you on the folks' clock. That's basically you saying, because I honor my time and honor what I got going on, I'm gonna honor you in the same way I expect to be honored. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Everybody ain't like that.
And that's the thing that we also have to realize. Because when you're talking, what came up was we don't wrestle and fight against flesh and blood. We could take that literal, and it's literal and spiritual, right? So when you think about people, like even if I think about myself, a lot of times, a lot of the disappointment comes in when we're expecting ourselves from people, right? And the truth of the matter is people are who they are, from whatever their own pain, experiences, traumas and dramas that they've gone through that they may not have healed through. So that's how they see life a lot of times.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they get reflected on the people that they do life with, unfortunately. So there's a clash when you've been walking through healing, when you've been walking through breaking free of these things. And I think the hard part is that there are a lot of areas that the Lord is freeing you from, right? And the discernment, when you talked about, the guy was talking about discernment, is the discernment is you cannot ever go into a space and not be who God called you to be, right? The discernment is, okay, let me discern what's happening, what's going on in the room. So maybe I give it like this and not like this, right? But I'm still giving who I am. Like, you still gonna get all of me, right? But you may get a little paprika instead of like the whole seasoning cabinet. That doesn't mean that I'm not giving you who I am. I'm just discerning what's needed in this space at this time, right? And so I think as you move forward and you continue to take up space in rooms, that's the discernment. It's not, you can't be Jessica. No, you're called to be Jessica. You're responsible. Your responsibility is to be Jessica in this space because you're in this space for a reason. The responsibility on your end is, okay, Lord, what are we giving them today? That's a boundary. That's what in the book, when the guy was talking about the discernment and the love, that's what that means. That don't mean Jessica can't be Jessica. Jessica has to be Jessica because that's what the space is needed. They just may need this part of Jessica and not this part of Jessica. You know what I'm saying? I think about also, there's two people that came up. I was thinking about Omar. Remember I texted you and Omar said, so I did the content, the cash challenge.
Yeah.
And there was the VIP and then there was general admission. So I was in a VIP session and I was just listening. This guy was asking the questions, and then as he was just commenting, he said, I think he dropped the F-bomb, right? And everybody just kind of kept on. Omar said, hey, we're not going to use profanity on this platform, right? First off, everybody knows, if you follow Omar, you know he's a man of God. He's a pastor. Like, all his teachings and his principles come from the Bible, right? That don't mean like the guy couldn't be himself. To me, the discernment is, I know I'm on this platform and I know he honors Let me choose to use a different word. And so because he didn't, he just let him know, hey, the boundary is, I want you to be all yourself. Ask your questions and I'm going to give you all I got. But what we're not going to do is use these types of words. Why? He said, because my daughter could be sitting right here. She could be sitting here watching me work. And I don't want to expose her to that type of language because she's not used to that. Yeah. That's a boundary that he set for himself. Not saying that he can't be who he is. Not saying he hasn't created a safe environment for the people to be who they are. It's just, hey, we're going to choose to use language that's in excellence. And he went through this whole teaching about language and how, like, sometimes with cursing, sometimes we choose to use that words because we may not have different language to use, blah, blah, blah. That's a boundary. That's a very safe, healthy boundary. That don't mean that, like I said, the people can't be who they are. They can. They just have to also, he's bringing them up to another level of, hey, let me respect this man because of his boundaries and things. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I don't, again, I think it's just a matter of giving boundaries a different definition for you. Like, a boundary is not lack of freedom, is not bondage. It's literally a safeguard. And you get the opportunity to put boundaries in place to be proactive and not reactive. Yeah. And I think the bondage comes in when you have to put things in place because something has happened. Well, no, we're going to put these in place so that things don't happen. Yeah. And if they do happen, now it's like, okay, let me evaluate. Is this boundary still a good boundary? Do I need to move it back? Do I need to move it up? Or is this a safe space where I can let the boundary go? Like, there's some spaces you don't have to have boundaries in with some people, and that's okay.
Yeah. That was good, Desiree. You showed your age.
Yeah.
You showed you had a little wisdom.
Because your girl knocking on 40 though.
The dough is, it's like,
I mean,
boom,
like,
boom, 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 boom,
it's
boom.
like, oh, I can
You're
see
turning
you.
the knob.
I can see you.
You put the key in.
I mean,
you've unlocked it. Now we're just gonna open the door and we're gonna walk through it.
40 down.
40.
Yeah.
We're having a big celebration, you guys, for 40 for Desiree.
Oh my goodness.
Well, it won't. You'll know about it this time because I'm trying to surprise you. Just stressed me out.
Just don't do that. That stressed me out.
It stressed me. No, it didn't.
I mean, during the time, it was a little weird.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it though.
I hope you did.
It just wore me out, baby. I was asleep by 6 o'clock.
Yeah. We and I was at the Chris Brown concert.
Yeah, living your life.
Yeah.
I appreciate you though.
I love you.
I love you, girl.
I love you. And I thank you for, although I don't know my boundaries fully, I honor the fact that you are willing to honor the boundaries I haven't even created yet.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
And you'll see, like, the people that the Lord has really called you to, like, they have boundaries for you that you probably don't even know about. And it's not, and that's out of respect.
Yeah.
It's not out of a negative thing. It's just out of respect. Like, them knowing who you are and where you're going, like, I respect that.
Yeah.
And so there's certain things that I'm going to honor and I'm not going to do because I want her to be great in that space.
I'm glad you said it, because even if the fact that you're saying that just gives me imagery of, like, okay, Jessica, truly, before you got fed up, what were the boundaries that weren't set before, and like what irritated you that you didn't speak on? You was like, okay, this is who that person, because I'm accepting of who people are, but maybe I need to have an Omar moment. It's like, hey, you just did that in this space while you're with me. I don't do that. Mm-hmm. I don't say these things, or I don't indulge in this territory. Like, this ain't it. So whatever you do out there, they ain't got to do with me. Mm-hmm. But right here in this space, you not, you know what I'm saying? Even I think about Tristan will be like, I'm so sorry I cussed. And I guess just because I'm just like, don't worry. Maybe I need to be like, thank you for apologizing for cursing. Thank you for apologizing for cursing on the platform. I'm like, you've expressed yourself, like I guess in my mind it's like not being judgmental, but also honoring what I believe and the standards that I have with myself. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I think I have a lot to think. I not even just think about, but just to plan. I have to be strategic. Yeah. And one of the strategic things, and just saying this out loud, is y'all can't book me directly with me no more. I don't get booked without Desiree, and shout out to Felicia, who's the admin not only for Just As the podcast, but just Jessica S. Smith the brand. And I've made it very clear to, I think, both of y'all, but mainly you, Desiree, when I was telling you I was talking to your man. Mm-hmm. I made it clear to him. I was like, yeah, I can't get booked by anybody, and my price is my price. And unless the Lord says, hey, adjust that or do this differently, that's what that's going to be. And it's not because I'm mad at anybody. That is just going to show me, you know what I'm saying, who values me and who's taking my position seriously, to the point where I had a friend, somebody that knows that, I rock with them the long way. Like, we might not talk every day, but they're my dog. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? She reached out to me and said, hey, Jessica, what's the formal way of booking you to host this event? Mm-hmm. And I was real close to say, girl, whatever, don't worry. Are you involved with? I didn't even ask that. It was so natural for me to say, girl, don't worry about it. What you need, because that's my homegirl. Yeah. But she saw fit to say, hey, what's the proper protocol to get you booked? Yeah. And I had to, I think it was even a test from God, because I had just said it earlier the week, and I was like, y'all gonna have to book through my admin. I had to go back and honor my word. Hey, email my admin at this. You know what I'm saying? And so when I sent it to Felicia, she just loved it. You know, I think you loved it too, and I'm proud of myself because who it was, I wanted to say, girl, what you need, you know what I'm saying? But what I set up was, okay, let me send her this email.
Yeah, that's good. So what you did is amazing, and I'm very proud that you said it and you stuck with it. That's the same thing I learned when I was starting to build my salon, right? You know, a lot of people that I knew initially, they had my personal number, right? And so I began to set up online booking because one, I'm like, we doing all this back and forth that's unnecessary. Like I could literally send you this calendar. You can look to see what I have available and compare it to what you have available. Even when people that I know ask about a hair appointment, so whatever, I still send them a link. Hey, here's the link to the calendar, because at the end of the day, I learned that people will treat you how you allow them to treat you. And when you just begin to set up boundaries and systems, people will begin to take you seriously. When we begin to take ourselves serious. And like you said, there are times when the Lord will be like, hey, blah 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 blah, but that doesn't negate that there's still a process, there's still a boundary in place. Yeah,
That's good. Well, I'm glad we had this conversation. I probably feel like I done calmed down now, and I can like I can breathe just a little bit. But
I'm proud of you though, because there's boundaries is something that we all probably deal with in some shape, form, or fashion, and I really feel like when we begin to look at it in a proactive way, in a way of safeguarding and not necessarily bondage, you know, I think we'll all be able to just be freer in our relationships. Like I even think about like even in a marriage, you know, like the couple will have things that, hey, we're not going to yell at each other. We're not gonna. Those are healthy boundaries. You know what I'm saying? And that don't mean, hey, I don't love you. It just means because I know me and I know you, we're not going to even give space for the enemy to come in this territory. That's a healthy, proactive boundary. And I think you just have to look at this, like I said, the spaces that have been disrespected on multiple occasions, and just begin to put healthy, loving boundaries around those spaces. I think that's where you would start.
Okay.
And that's where you start too.
That's where y'all start, y'all. This has been a great, healthy conversation.
Yeah.
I don't mind putting myself on the chopping block. I really don't. I don't mind putting myself in a position where you guys can learn from my mishaps and my mistakes. That's why I just try to put, you know, the things. It's a timing for everything, but I also believe that, you know, I can't just have the responsibility of having this podcast and just not sharing, you know, the realness and the rawness, because I haven't figured this out yet. Boundaries is something I have not figured out yet, and I'm 34 years old, and it's okay. It's okay, and I want y'all to know it's okay. I would love to hear from you guys in the chat.
Light the chat up.
Yeah, light it up, because I know I ain't the only one.
Yes, you not.
I am not the only one to deal with this. If Desiree's age helped you, I mean wisdom.
I'm screaming.
If her wisdom helped you in this space, just tell her out, shout her out. Please add her, because she does not look at the comments sometimes, y'all.
I don't get notifications, bruh.
Please get it together.
Okay.
You got a notification on the Gmail account. You got notifications on that. Yeah. Try it again.
Why she put me out?
Try it again. Because I get Sarah's notifications.
Do you?
Yes, I do. See, that's something wrong with your phone. We're going to fix that in a minute. Okay. Anyway, you guys, that's a boundary I'm setting for you. Ma'am. Get the notifications.
Get my notifications together.
All right, you guys, talk to us in the comments. We love you. We appreciate you. Until next week, until next time, remember, life could be much more simple if you just ask.
Peace, y'all. What's up, you guys? We hope you've enjoyed that conversation, but make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification so you don't miss an episode. We'll see you next Thursday.